Hello everyone, my name is Leo, also known as Ace, and in this video I want to talk to you about something that I've been working on for some time now, and that is AI companions on the Vanilla WoW private server NycterMoon. However, before I start talking about this, I want to give you some perspective, some context, because I think it's very important to understand where all of this is coming from, why I wanted to work on this, and why this is such a cool idea. Now, I love to play classic RPGs. I may not be the most hardcore or the most knowledgeable about them, but I have played through many of them, and they are probably my most played genre. Games like Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, Knights of the Old Republic, Divinity Original Sin, Pillars of Eternity, Dragon Age, Pathfinder, Final Fantasy VII, and probably others that I can't remember at the moment. But the point is, I used to love to really get down to it and take the time to learn about the game mechanics, come up with cool party compositions, theorycraft builds, and really invest the time to get immersed into that particular game and its lore. Sadly, as life goes on, there is not much time for me to invest into doing this nowadays, as I find myself just wanting to play one class or one particular build or to try out something that I haven't before. But it's not possible to focus only on the one thing. Instead, you have to put the effort into your whole entire party. So if you want to play a wizard, then you can't just play the wizard, you also have to play the fighter, the rogue, the priest, the paladin, and whatever else you decide to bring along in that party. Recently, I wanted to do a replay of Pillars of Eternity 1 and 2, and I wanted to play a wizard on the highest difficulty, which is something that I haven't done before. So I was very excited about it. I read about the class lore and the class fantasy and its abilities, and a little bit about the combos and what are some of the good ways to build this class, so I was getting into it. But as soon as I cleared the tutorial part of the game, I realized that I didn't remember so much about the other classes, and suddenly I wasn't just playing a wizard, I was also playing a fighter and a paladin and a chanter and a rogue and a cipher. So basically I had to theorycraft and build and gear up and actually control and play the entire party, not just my wizard. This kind of put me off. I wanted to stop playing because I just didn't have the time nor the inclination to go through all the extra work anymore, when I just wanted to play my class, and that's it. Thankfully, some of these games like Pillars of Eternity, Final Fantasy VII, or even Divinity Original Sin 2 with the mod, have the option to put your companions under the control of an AI, which is a nice way to take some of that load off you in combat. But since I almost always play these games on the highest difficulty, the simplistic AI can only handle easy situations, where normally you'd stomp anyway. So if the fight was any challenge at all, then I'd have to turn off the AI and manually play my entire roster myself, not just my own character. So it got me thinking, is there really no classic RPG out there where you have more control over what the AI companions can do in combat? Can't I just tell them myself which spells to use and for them to play it out themselves, just so they can handle more responsibility and allow me to play my own class without having to worry so much about them? Well, thankfully there are two games that allow you to do just that. The first one is Final Fantasy VII, which is a JRPG, and it has a system that allows you to set up conditions for when your companions should use their abilities. Something like, if the enemy is low health, then use this ability, or if he is high health, then use the other ability. And that's all fine. But it wasn't good enough, because you can only have one condition, just one, per ability, and fights are sometimes more complex than that, so you still have to micromanage everybody. Now, the holy grail of classic RPGs, the only one that I have found to allow you full customization and control over your companions, is Dragon Age Origins. I should also mention that Dragon Age 2 also does this to some extent, but I haven't played it recently, so I don't want to speak about it. However, Dragon Age Origins with a mod called Even More Advanced Tactics, and another one to give you as many tactic slots as you want, allows you to finally set up your companions in the way that you want to make them fully autonomous. The way this works is almost similar to a programming or a scripting language, so I fully understand if this confuses or discourages people from trying it out. It was also pretty intimidating for me at first. To explain it simply, what this allows you to do is to unite multiple conditions together into a more complex condition as a requirement for using any ability. So if this condition and that condition and that condition, only then use this ability. So by giving this more advanced logic to each spell, you allow your companions to handle situations that usually require more finesse and more careful consideration. This ensures that the correct ability is used at the correct time on the correct enemy, and they're not just wasting their best abilities on the weakest enemies, for example. The cool thing about the way I have them set up here in Dragon Age Origins is actually very similar to how the companions work in World of Warcraft as well. First, they have some logic to determine which enemy target to select, then they have some logic for using items and consumables, then there's some logic for defensive and otherwise powerful abilities with long cooldowns, and finally, when they look at that particular selected enemy, they check whether they have to use area of effect, abilities or single target spells on them. And because I can assign complex conditions for each spell, I make sure that they are able to combo these abilities and spells for devastating effects. This way I can finally play my character and forget about the rest, because they behave and make decisions in the same way that I would, so there's nothing more for me to tell them. In this Dragon Age playthrough, by setting up my companions correctly, we were able to clear the whole entire game without me having to manually control them at all on Nightmare difficulty, which is the highest difficulty. We killed bosses, we killed dragons, we killed large packs of enemies, no problem. That's the beauty of it. Except that there's still a problem. This is all nice and dandy, but it's still not hands-free. I still have to build my companions, teach them spells, gear them up, and of course, I had to learn how to write this logic for them and actually take the time to write it. And I just want to play my wizard, man. Alright, that's all the context I wanted to give you. Now let's talk about the World of Warcraft Vanilla private server NycterMoon and the AI companions that you have access to on the server. For those of you who don't know what companions are, they are server-controlled characters that you can hire by going to an inn. These characters can fulfill different roles of your choosing, such as tank, healer, DPS, and they will join your group and fight for you as long as you are online. While they are in your group, they will do what they can to perform their role to the best of their abilities. Because they will only be with you for a short time, you don't have to worry about their gear, talents, spells, or consumables. They will come fully prepared to fight, just like any other player you might encounter. They are responsible for themselves. So, if you are like me, and you just want to play your class and not have to worry about the rest of your group, then the companions will serve you splendidly. In the clip playing in the background, it is me running a dungeon, and you can see I'm just standing around like a spectator, but that's to prove a point. The ones who are in my party, they aren't players, they are companions, and I'm their boss. I'm giving them an attack command, and they do their best to fight and win. And that's something you can do, give them commands. There are a few various commands you can give them, and they're pretty obvious, like attack, stop attacking, come here, stay there, etc. Now, for the most part, you don't need to tell them anything, because as soon as you are in combat, they will come and assist you. But there is a benefit for using at least one or two of these commands. Most notably, the pull command. That one sends the tank into attack and tells the DPS to wait a couple of seconds so that the tank has time to establish threat. There are a few ways to give commands to your companions. First, you can type the command in the chat if you know it. Secondly, you can make a macro for it and use that macro. Or thirdly, and most likely, you can use the Companion's Control Panel add-on. You can find a list of all the commands together with an explanation for what they do on the NycterMoon website, and you can also find a link to download the add-on over there. So, what can you use companions for? As you might have guessed, you can use them for questing, farming, running dungeons, or even filling up the spots in a raid. As far as questing is concerned, they can make your leveling experience very relaxing and entertaining, as they will allow you to take on quests and lead quests that perhaps otherwise you might shy away from because it takes too long to find other people who are also interested in helping you out. And if you can afford multiple companions, then it can also make it safer. Each player can hire up to a maximum of 4 companions, so you can reap the benefit of having a full party, which you can set up however you like. The biggest benefit is that the companions will never complain, will never insult you, or grief you in any way. Whatever you want to do, however you want to play, whatever crazy spec or class or party composition you've always wanted to try out but you couldn't because it wasn't meta and other players will just laugh at you or tell you off, well, now you can try it. It's not a problem anymore. You can have your own little Zen adventure and ignore all the people who you don't like hanging out with. And because you can customize your companions by class, role, race, and gender, you can happily create your very own harem to follow you around, if that's what you like to, I don't know. As far as dungeons are concerned, all the dungeons can be done with a full party of companions. Sometimes they can handle things so well, you might start to feel like a fifth wheel. So you don't necessarily need to be the best player in the world. I suck at this game, which is why I'm working on these companions to carry me through. True story. And if you're not shy of using commands, then you can get them to do things like corner pulls and all sorts of tactics to make it easy to clear any encounter. But for the most part, just by using the pull command to give the tank a little bit of time to establish threat will get you pretty far. I have personally cleared multiple times dungeons like BRT, Stratholme, Skolomas, Dire Maul, and others have also done LBRS and UBRS, so we know they're good for it. This is something that you can do. As far as raids are concerned, there's no full support for raids yet, as in I haven't written any custom logic to deal with different mechanics and such, but they can handle tank and spank bosses. This is something that I will continue to work on in the future. As someone who has not done any raiding in WoW and I'm a total casual, I want to make the companions able to clear all the content so I can experience it for myself as well. And if you like to run battlegrounds, then you are covered there as well. All you have to do is queue up for any of the 3 battlegrounds, Warsong Gulch, Arati Basin or Alterac Valley, and after a minute or so in the queue, the spots will be automatically filled and you'll be able to play as usual. So that's the gist of it. If you want to know more about the server, then you are more than welcome to join us on the Discord server, and myself and other members of the community will answer any questions you might have. I always post the changes I make in the changelog channel so you can keep track of the progress. I welcome any feedback and I do my best to fix any issues that come my way. Now, aside from this video, I intend to make more videos with me clearing all the dungeons in the game, where perhaps I will also go more into detail about how the different classes and roles work and what are some of the things that I'm working on and need to be improved in the future. This is still a work in progress, but it's definitely progress towards a way for people to experience Vanilla WoW differently than before. Before I end the video, I would like to give a shout out to the vMangos team for continuously working on the core and updating it, and to Brotalnia, who is the original creator of the vMangos bots that stand as the base upon which the companions have got to grow and hopefully will continue to grow into something very wholesome. But most importantly, I would like to thank all the players who have been on this journey with us from the beginning and have contributed with priceless feedback to help us improve the companions and to make it a better experience for us all. All relevant links will be in the description. Thank you very much for watching this video and have a wonderful day.